Thank you very much for joining me today. So, we're going to be talking about how you should respond to the visa officer, or you should explain a previous visa rejection in your current visa application. Now, I know that most times people when you make a visa application, you are required to disclose if you have been denied a visa from that embassy or maybe any other embassy. You would find questions like that in most visa applications. So most times people always ask me, should I disclose? Now, if you have been asked that question, yes, you should disclose, particularly if it relates to the particular embassy that you're applying to. You know why you should disclose? Because they have that information. So it doesn't make sense, so you would ask me, okay, if they have that information, why are they asking you? Because they want to know if you're honest. So imagine that you're asked the question if your visa application has been denied by that embassy or any other embassy, and yes, in the past you were denied, and then you say no. And then they look at their record and realize that yes, your visa application was denied. Now, it would cast some kind of doubt in the mind of the interviewing officer, because it would be, if they could lie about something like this, what else? What other information are they withholding, or what other lies are they telling? So yes, you should disclose if you have been previously denied a visa. Now, I'm going to help you, by guiding you on how you should explain. Now, it's not sufficient to disclose. Most embassies would want to know why you were denied, and in explaining the reason why you were denied in the previous one, that would determine if what weight they would actually place on that previous denial or that information. So how should you explain a previous denial? Now, the first thing you want to do, like I said, is admit it that you were denied, and then you want to state the reason why you were denied. Now, you would ask me, how do I know the reason? Most embassies would explain themselves. Now, whether you understand it or not, it doesn't matter. For example, maybe the US visa, when you're denied under section 214, subsection B. Now, you just have to state, that was the reason. They understand what that means. But most embassies would explain, would go through your application and then send you a letter. It usually comes in a white paper, and tell you why, in details, why your visa application was denied. You do want to summarize that reason and include it in your in your current visa application. So you would ask me, how do I make that happen? Now, if it's a physical interview, then it would require you just making an explanation. You would have to speak up. But of course, if you are required to, for embassies, I know there are very few countries that actually practice physical interviews. But if you have to submit documents, you do want to include a cover letter. So it is in your cover letter that you would be able to explain these reasons, why. So what would you do? You would be upfront with that information. So you're going to have, in your cover letter, you're going to state the period you applied and the date, that the decision was actually reached. I know most people, once you get a denial letter, you're angry, you think the best thing to do is to rip up that letter and then just throw it away. No, you don't want to do that, because if you're applying again in future, you do want to make reference to that letter. So let's say you have the letter, you can just take a screenshot and then email it to yourself. So whenever you want to access it, it would be available to you. You want to be upfront about the reason. For example, you're going to be stating that in October 2023, I applied for this visa, and on this day my visa was, if you don't know the date, you can just mention the month. But of course, if you know the date isn't, it will just make you look like you're taking it seriously. I was applied and my visa was denied for the following reasons. If you can summarize it into one paragraph, that's perfect. You don't want to stress them to go through all the details of your letter. So my visa application was denied, for the reason that I was not able to prove that I had strong ties to my home country, or the visa officer was not satisfied based on the bank statement that I provided that I could afford to pay for my trip, or I did not include sufficient documents to prove that indeed I am going for, let's say, my sister's graduation, my mother to take care of my mom, or whatever, to visit a family and friend, or whatever the case may be. After you have done that, you want to explain how the current application is different, because you're trying to convince them that yes, this was an error. If there was no reason, then you want to state that your visa application was denied without any reason or explanation why. And then you tell them what you did then, that you think you did enough to deserve a visa, and then what you are doing in this current application. That is if you claim you do not know the reason. But where a reason was given to you, it makes your job very easy, because you're going to be addressing that reason, and then you're going to be telling them what you're doing different in your current application. For example, if they said you did not have strong ties, you would include in your letter that, this was the reason why you were denied. And in this application, what you have done is that you have attached your employment letter, you have attached your last salary review, you have a letter from your office stating that you do have a job, you have a bank statement that shows that money goes into your account, you have a property or a landed property that you own, you have attached evidence of that, you have history, you have evidence that you have paid your rent up until 1 year. So if you're traveling if you're traveling out, you're not going to just abandon a rent, because in Nigeria we have the culture of paying rent in advance. So you tell them you have paid your rent 1 year in advance. So you have no business to abandon, that life and then go seek, whatever, to go live abroad. So you want to explain that reason. If your bank statement did not show that, okay, maybe you had huge sum of money that was deposited, and then it was, the visa officer questioned that they are not sure that that money is available to you. Of course, you explain. For example, you can attach that same bank statement, highlight the particular amount in question, and say, this is earnings that I made from this investment, this is earnings that I made from rent I collected, rental income I got from a property, this is earnings that I made, this is money that was given to me from this particular source. You need to explain. If that was the issue that you had, you need to explain it in your cover letter in the current application. And then of course you want to attach documents to prove that yes, I probably didn't do it right the last time, but now I have done it right. Now, if you're upfront about that, and then you provide the explanation, and then you do every other thing required of you, chances are that whoever is looking at your application would appreciate the fact that yes, you understand why you were denied, and then you have presented a better case, and that of course would improve your chances of getting a visa. Now, if you do want to know what to do when your visa application has been denied, there are options available to you, and there's a video I want you to go watch, so go watch that video. I'm going to include the link here, and then I'm also going to include it in the description box. So you want to go watch it, you want to share it with someone, and then you can also leave your comments here. Now, it's important for you to ask questions here. I know most times people come and then ask if they can send me an email, and now there's a process for doing that. There's a visa support service channel that we handle such requests. But if you leave a comment here, I would respond to them, because if you do require visa support service, I would also include the link. You would need to go and follow that process to be able to reach me. But otherwise, if you leave a comment, I will respond to them, and then you would just get as much value as you would get. So thank you very much for sticking with me today. My name is Ototon, and of course I'm a travel content creator. So hit the like button if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, and then have a good day.